share it and invite someone who can watch this. I'm so glad that you're here. So the one thing that you should do before you say I do, is one, we have to know that we are responsible for our own choices. We are responsible for our own choices, and I see this quite often when people are getting married. And I must say, maybe I am happily married because of the choices I made, because of the choice I made when I met my husband. And this is what I mean. You know, you always have to ask yourself, why am I getting married, or why am I committing to this relationship? Is it because of peer pressure? Is it because maybe someone is telling you that you're getting old and you need to get married? Is it because your parents are saying, hey girl, you have to get married? And of course, I tend to talk to women mostly, but these are also applicable to men as well. So why are you committing to this relationship? That is the number one question that you have to ask yourself. If your reasons are not strong enough, then you have to reevaluate and think about the choice that you're going to make. Because at the end of the day, after we've eaten the food and we are very satisfied, we are going to leave you there, and you're going to live with a choice for life. And so what do I mean if I say you're responsible for your own choices? I'll just give you an easy example. Before I got married, it was so important for me that I don't get married to someone who drank alcohol. Like alcohol to me was the number one on the list. Having been brought up in a family where my dad used to drink alcohol and abuse alcohol, it was a no for me not to get married to someone who drinks alcohol. And of course, I know that there are people who drink responsibly, but for me, because of the experience I had, I said never. And I was so determined, even if it meant I was going to stay single, I was not going to compromise on that, because I know how that caused, how that affected us as kids growing up and how it affected the family dynamics. So I made it very clear that I was not going to do that. So this is what you need to ask yourself as well. What are some of those qualities that you really want in a person you want to get married to? You have to write those ones down. There are some qualities that you should never compromise on, because at the end of the day, it comes back to you. So what are those qualities that you really want as a person? These are the things that are going to help you stand in a relationship. So be strong. Don't be taken up by people who say, hey, you have to commit. No. As the saying goes, love is blind, but heck, marriage will uncover, that blindness, it will uncover the sight. You will start seeing. So don't be blinded by those cool muscles and the cool, tall, dark, handsome. At the end of the day, it comes back to those qualities. What is so important for you, and what can you live without? Because the truth is, marriage can be hard. It can be damn hard. So if you don't choose the right person, at the end of the day, you are going to be responsible for that choice. So do not think I'm going to blame anyone, I'm going to do anything. At the end of the day, it's going to be only you and only you who is responsible for that. So make sure you make the right choice. So that is number one. We are responsible for our own choices. So let's be mindful. Let's think critically about the choice or the person that we are going to be choosing, and not compromise so much. So that's point number one. Let me see what some people are saying. So if you're just joining us, I'm just having a heart-to-heart conversation with young people about love, marriage, and relationships. And as a person who has been married for some time now, as an educator, I want to share what I've learned over the years. So let's see. Bridget is saying, but first tell us where you tell us where you met your husband. Sometimes that is telling on what kind of husband you choose. Okay. I'll just tell you how I met my husband. Well, as we went to the same school together. But at that point, really, same high school. He was a good man, but I wasn't thinking about getting married at that point. For me, when I was in high school, education was my number one. And I'll tell you why education was so important for me to get somewhere. My mom really wasn't educated so much, but she knew the importance of education. She always told us that, my girls, you have to have a choice. So you have to have choices in life, and she said education is one of the ways you will have a choice. Like, you have to be able to fend for yourself. So in school, I was actually concentrating so much on doing very well because I wanted to have a future, I wanted to have a job, I wanted to be able to look after myself. So yes, we did meet in school, but it is not later at campus, after we graduated, when I saw, oh my goodness, oh, this actually is a potential gentleman. He was very cool, he was handsome, but he was really gentle at heart. Like, so we would talk and talk for hours. To me, someone who listened to me, someone who was able to really have a conversation with me, that was so important to me. Some people, it's about, I tell you what to do, I tell you what to do to go here and there. So that is not going to work in a relationship. It is, are you able to sit and have a conversation? Can your voice be heard? So apart from his being handsome, apart from his being like really chic, I know he's easy on the eye, I know, but he has a good heart, and he was able to listen, to have a conversation, and of course has many other qualities as well. So that is how I met him. Sorry for diverting, but Bridget, don't ask other questions. So that is number one. Really, you're responsible for your own choices. I am responsible for my own choices, my own choice. So right now, whatever happens, I am very responsible for my choice. So that is why you have to be very careful when you're making the decision before you commit to any marriage partner. Number two, marriage is not the end of the world, and you are enough the way you are. When I started, we did a video with my friend Dr. Jalia Kangave, and well, I have to put a caveat here. Most of you who know me know that I'm an advocate for marriage. I do believe in marriage. I really believe in the institution. I can't even imagine my life without my husband, because he really compliments me in so many ways. But me standing and saying like marriage is the end of the world, like you're doomed if you are not married, that is being so short-sighted. I want people to always know that you are enough the way you are. So you bring to the marriage to bring in things like to really enrich that marriage. But don't think that when your marriage is down, then you're going to be down. No, this is the mentality that we have in our heads. And I can't blame us, because we are brought up in a culture that makes us to think and believe that as women, we mean nothing. Like, we are useless unless we are married, or unless we get married and have children and we have a husband. And that is absolutely wrong. This is the message I want to tell the young people. Thank you for the love. I say, if you like what I'm saying, please click those emojis. I want to know that you're listening in and that it is making sense. And if you have a comment, please let me know. I want every woman to know that they're enough. And by the way, this is what builds a relationship. When you have a partner that understands that you are enough, like you're in there, he knows that, like, we do have like respect in this home, because my husband definitely knows, like, anytime I can leave this relationship, and I also know that anytime he can actually leave the relationship. And that doesn't mean that we take each other for granted. No, we work damn hard to make this relationship work. But we also understand, like, we are not defined by the relationship that we're in. We know there are very many people who are very happy and they're not married. So when people are saying, you know, every time, every decision that you make, don't ever feel stuck. Don't ever feel like, oh, I have to get married because marriage is the end of the world. No, it is not the end of the world. It is a beautiful thing, but it is not the end of the world. So This is what you have to tell yourself. Really, you are enough the way you are. Marriage just comes to enrich you, to make you even stronger, to grow together. But if it is not building you, you just have to know that you can be enough the way you are. Today, who I am, I can be support myself. Because I'm enough. Like, I really don't need him to complete me. I am enough the way I am. So that is the confidence that keeps us going every day, instead of having this dependency syndrome. Does that make sense, my friends? So whoever you are, whether you're a boy or a girl, you're a man or a woman, tell yourself you are enough just the way you are. Don't be held captive by any man or any woman, or even you depend on me, like I'm looking after you. No, you have to know that you are enough. So that is one point. So before you say I do, just know I'm going to this relationship, but in case it doesn't work out, I know I am enough. I'm not defined by marriage. Well, number 3, what are you bringing to the relationship? You have to bring something to the relationship. So before you say I do, you have to ask yourself, how am I going to enrich this person? Especially women, we tend to have this dependency syndrome. You go in a relationship, you want to give, to provide, We stop losing, like doing what we are supposed to be doing, So what are you going to bring in that relationship? As you write the points that you want, like I said, remember, you have to make the choices and you have to write a list of the things that you want. As you write the things that you want from a relationship, what are you going to bring in that relationship? Are you going to bring happiness? Because if you're not a happy person and you expect to get it from the relationship, it is not going to happen, because you're going to be even very sad, because you should come with an abundance of happiness, of joy, of fulfillment, and that is how you will enrich the marriage. So work on yourself. If you're miserable, if you're stressed, if you're looking for something, if you know you're not complete, save yourself from the institution of marriage, because you just go to enrich the marriage. You don't just go to take away. So build yourself, find happiness. Like, one thing people have to understand, there is a lot of happiness in marriage, but it only happens if you're already a happy person. You are not going to find happiness in marriage if you're a very sad, miserable person. You're all going to be miserable. So work on yourself. See, what am I going to bring to the relationship? What am I going to bring to the table? Are you marriage material yourself, or you're expecting too much from the other person? Thank you. Let me see what they're saying. Lynette, I agree, sister. I've been enough. Thank you. Yeah, you are enough. We're enough. Violet, thank you for watching. We're just having a heart-to-heart conversation about love, marriage, and relationships. I know you are married. You're in a very wonderful relationship. Please, you can let us know and share with us what you feel about this topic. And as usual, if you can, please share this message. And the other point I want to talk about, which is very, very important to me, is related to what I've said, is keeping your paycheck. Especially for women, I want to encourage all of us to really maintain our paycheck, to maintain our career. Why? Because we cannot be dependent. I've seen very many people who are abused because they don't have an option. You cannot rely on your partner for everything. I know sometimes they tell you, stay home and do this. I agree, of course, there are some circumstances where you have to stay home. I had to stay home to raise my boys because we didn't have so many options. But that has to be for a short while. You cannot say, I'm going to stay home and depend on my partner for a very long time. At the end of the day, you don't have so much choice. And that is why I talked about my mother. Let me know if this means sense to you, or if it makes sense. Like I talked about it, my mom, was really not very educated, and she didn't have so many choices in life. So growing up, she would tell us, my daughters, I really want you to have choices. I want you to go to school. I want you to be able to have your own money. I want you to have the skills. Remember, this is a woman of those days, a woman who was not educated, because maybe she was so stuck in a relationship because she didn't have so many choices. Maybe she didn't have money. So she was always, sticking around because that's where the land was, that is why everything was. And she occasionally tells us, if you ever have to leave, know that she wants the daughters to leave, I want you to be able to have something to fend for yourself. So ladies, my friends, before you go, don't ever think of just giving up your career because maybe a man is asking you to leave your career. No, or your hobbies or whatever you love doing. If you love it, if it completes you, you have to maintain it, because that is how you become happy and that is how you're going to grow. So that is my point. I really, really can't emphasize that one enough. Make sure that you have your paycheck if it is possible. Could be a small skill, could be a small business that you're doing. Make sure you have a little money that is yours, so that you're not always begging and depending on the person that you're living with. And I speak about this because I did work in a shelter, a battered women's support services. I know what it means for a woman not to have a little money in her pocket, to always depend on the partner. So if possible, please make sure that you maintain your career, or find something, a skill that can give you a little bit of livelihood. So my people, I thank you so much for watching. Sarah, I see you're watching me as well. Let's see, I'm just going to scroll around and just read a few more comments, and then I will end this video. So if you have something to comment, if you have something to share, if something has spoken to your heart, please write it down so that it can bless someone. And please, like I said, go ahead and share it. So let me check through the comments one more time. Oh, I see love. I love those love emojis. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. I really love those love emojis. And yeah, I've been through enough. So it's pretty, yeah, it's very empowering. I'm so happy that you're so empowered. Thank you. Like I said, I started these videos thinking I'm going to empower other people, but I've ended up empowering myself. So every time I'm speaking to you, I'm actually speaking to myself. So today, as I rewind, these are the key points that we talked about, in love, in marriage and relationships. Before we say I do, this is what we have to really consider. One, we have to know that we are so responsible for our own choices, and that is going to help us to make the right choices, and because of the right reasons. Number two, we have to know that marriage is not the end of the world. While it is a beautiful thing, while we all enjoy marriage, while I love marriage, I am enough. I have to tell myself I am enough, whether I'm married or not. Next, we have to bring something. We have to work on ourselves as individuals so that we can enrich the marriage. And finally, we have to maintain our career, our hobbies, our lives. Our lives. We cannot always rely on marriage. So thank you, ladies. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. This is incredible. I love you all. So go ahead and share this video. I will see you on Wednesday when I do Business Wednesday. And of course, as usual, Monday I'm coming back, but this time I'm going to have a guest, and they will talk about different things. And I hope you have subscribed to my YouTube channel. I love you all. Have a blessed, wonderful week, and have lovely relationships. God bless you.